Hi everybody, welcome to the latest in the What I'm Playing series. And this week, the winner by popular vote was Red Skies. So let's take a look at Red Skies. It's a Soviet Japanese, well, Japanese Soviet control planes heavy deck that I've had some pretty good success with. So we'll get to the gameplay in just a second, but we're really built around two planes in particular. First, the M6A1 Sheeran, and the stats are up here, and you can read them at your leisure. But the line of text that we're really into on this card is your orders deal +1 damage. It's a pretty unique line of text in cards. There's only two cards in the entire game that have that line of text on them. One is the Sheeran, and then the other one is the J1N1 Gecko, which is on the screen now, so you can take a look at. And those two the fighter and the bomber combined really turn on a lot of the removal orders that we have in this deck, which is kind of our game plan here. Our game plan is to keep the battlefield as clear as we can until we get those two planes on the battlefield, and then kind of sweep everything, sweep everything, sweep everything, and then find a patriotic firestorm or a burst of fire and win the game outright at that point. So we have Bloody Sickle, which gets turned on by both the Sheeran and the Gecko. And the one thing to keep in mind with Bloody Sickle is that even though it will deal 2 damage to a ground unit when one of those is out there, or 3 or 4, depending on how many we can get on the battlefield, it will also do that same amount of damage to your HQ. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to burn yourself out in the end. Then we get over to Air Superiority, which either deals 1 if we just play it outright, or it deals 3 if we have an air unit on the battlefield. And with our two planes that we were just talking about, all of a sudden it turns into a deal 4 damage for 1 credit, which is really good. From the people, deal 4 damage to any unit for 2 credits, which is really nice. And then we have Tora, which deals 1 damage to all enemies, and that includes the opponent's HQ. So if you can get a couple of those planes onto the battlefield, this can turn into just an outright battlefield sweep, or it can help burn out the opponent and their HQ. And we have stuff like Bombing Raid Naval Operations does a similar thing to Tora. Kota Bushido does a similar thing. And then we have some planes up here at the top end. The Gecko itself actually is pretty good at chipping in some damage. The Sheeran is pretty good if we can get a Patriotic Firestorm on it. All of a sudden becomes a 3-power bomber. And if you can give it the burst of fire to go along with that, you can kind of see how we can put that together to finish the game off quickly. One unit that I definitely want to mention is the Type 3 Chinook, which is on the screen now. This will help protect you when things are going the wrong way. That has ambush and guard while in your support line. That's real. Like, that makes a big difference, especially when you're facing down a whole bunch of light infantry tokens. So keep that card in mind. But that's the deck we're playing for the What I'm Playing series this week. So let's get out there and give it a try and see how we do. So our first opponent up here is 009700, I think. I don't know. But okay, we have kind of what we want to see in our opening hand. We have one card that helps us draw cards, which is Bloody Sickle. We're actually going to throw the rest of these back, and hopefully we'll get a 33rd Recon Regiment. These are all pretty replaceable in an opening hand, so let's see what we get. And we do get lucky, we get our 33rd Recon Regiment, which is perfect. We're going to get that on the battlefield right away. Oh, and good luck to is it 00900? I don't know. So 33rd Recon's really good here. We're playing against a player who's playing the Germans, so Germany tends to be a little more frontline favoring, so having the 33rd Recon in the front line is very helpful. And we're actually going to ping it with our own Bloody Sickle, and we get to draw a couple here because we kind of got to grind. We're not going to be able to play most of these for a little while. Turn 8 is looking pretty good right now, and turn 5 is looking pretty good. So Reichsbank from our opponent. It looks like they're going to be on the ramp plan. So let's get an I-16 onto the battlefield, and we'll attack with our 33rd Recon, and we'll pass the turn back. We drew a from the people there, which is pretty good. We just got to survive a little bit here, and they drop a big Panzer 4G, and they pump it up. And that could be trouble for us, for sure. They pin our I-16, and that is kind of a pain, but what we're going to do is we're going to Bloody Sickle our 33rd Recon and get 2 more draws off of it. And let's see, we're going to get our Type 96 25mm AA gun out there, because the Panzer has to go through our 33rd Recon first, so it can't attack twice in a turn. And yes, it's going to be a problem, and it's going to be a pain, but we should be okay. We're going to have our Type 3s out there soon enough. We get another draw off of the 33rd Recon, and that chews up their entire turn. And we get another 33rd Recon, so we get more draws in just a little bit. So, how are we going to deal with this Panzer? Well, first we're going to blast it with our artillery. Then we're going to strafe it with our fighter. Then we're going to shoot it with our From the People and get rid of it. And it didn't really hurt us all that much. We still have an elite unit on the battlefield, feeling pretty good at this point. Our opponent does have a lot of cards, but we have a lot of cards too, and we're very much closer to our game plan than probably they are. Right now we can take this SD out. Oh, and they can't take it out now, but we did 2 damage to it, and we get to draw a card off of it. Great. And they did have a 22nd Infantry Regiment, but we're, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. So we got to be a little bit careful here. I think our game plan is going to be Bloody Sickle to the 22nd, because we can't have that thing drawing cards all the time. Then we drop a Type 3, and we drop a 33rd Recon, and that's probably going to be our turn, because we have another Type 3 in hand if we need it. So let's ping the 22nd here, see what we pick up. Alright, an air superiority, which doesn't do us a whole lot this turn. Next turn, that thing becomes a monster, though. So we'll put our Type 3 down, put our 33rd Recon down, and they didn't have a careless talk because they had 0 credits, so we're all set on that. And we're going to pass the turn, and hopefully we don't get run over here by a blitzkrieg and a whole bunch of blitz units. This is kind of a dangerous turn for us right here. Tactical strike on our Type 3, but that's okay. It's still getting its job done. We can see what else they have. They have a sudden strike for our 33rd Recon, so good play. Good plays by our opponent there. Very good plays. So, let's see. I think what we're going to do is we're going to drop our Gecko out there. Then we're going to take out this SD. And then we're going to pass the turn back. Now we have our first Gecko on the battlefield now. It's going to start to snowball unless they have something in their hand to take it out right here. And one thing that I've seen from some opponents so far is they don't really realize how important that your orders deal +1 damage. They're trying to execute their game plan, and sometimes that can get lost in the sauce how important that line is. So they play a mobilization and draw 3, but we're not falling behind on cards all that much, plus we have an Arctic convoy to grab a couple more. Whew, okay. Lots of options here, lots of options. Okay, so we could go with a gecko and an attack, but we don't really need to do that just yet. Interesting. We could do a Tora. We want to save the Toras for later on if we can. So right now, I think we're going to from the people, the fighter. We're going to use this opportunity to get in with our Type 3, and we're going to get a strafing run in with the Gecko. So that uses all our credits for this turn. My thinking there is if we lose this Type 3, it's at least chewed up a card, most likely because it has 4 power still, and we have another one in reserve that we can drop next turn. So we'll see what our opponent does. They have a full hand, so they have probably lots of options too with 8 credits. We do have them down to 12 on their HQ, and like I said in the intro, these Toras are going to deal 3, hopefully 3 each to their HQ. So let's see what our opponent does. And if our Type 3 makes it through another turn, that much the better. We'll take another 4 damage off of 12. Alright, so they play B17 and takes it, and their coin flip goes poorly. Okay, so what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Can we win this turn? Because we drew a burst of fire. That makes this a 4 damage order, or a 4 damage on the attack. Okay. We can do a gecko. It gives us 2 geckos, which makes this a 5 damage order. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a gecko. Now, gecko number 2. Then we're going to do a from the people on the B17, which might be incorrect there. One of our geckos is going to go down, but we take care of our B17, and we have lots of options again in the future. So, and we haven't seen our bomber yet either, so we'll see what happens here. They have to attack one of our geckos, so we take out the B17. Hopefully they don't have another one. They don't. They have a Hellcat instead, and that's going to take out our other gecko. But we take out the Hellcat, so that's good. Alright, not exactly what we wanted to pull off the top there with a naval operation, so let's use our Arctic convoy. We get a gecko and another Chinook, which is interesting. Let's get a Chinook out there, and this time they do have the careless talk, but our Chinook can take it. It's tough. So, our opponent definitely on the control route as well. So we might have to start getting a little more aggressive with some of our plays. Because even though we have some good game enders, we don't have B17 weight on the top end of our orders here. So a Jaeger Panther and a Panther 4 F2. Okay. So we have 11 credits to use right now. First thing we're going to get out there is a gecko, and then we're also going to play a naval operations. That's going to pin both of those. And I think we're going to pass a turn. We could have played a Tora there. It might have been a mistake to not take those out, but they are pinned. And let's see if they have... I mean, we saw a tactical strike already, but we haven't seen really anything else from our opponent in terms of direct damage orders. So blackout, so they'll cycle that and get a new card. Then they have the Panzer 3E, which is tough because it has blitz. But it looks like they want to play more units to the battlefield. Okay, so they have a 17th Infantry. They can still get in and attack with that Panzer III, though. Alright, and they go after our HQ, which is okay. We don't mind that. Alright, so lots of options for us here. We drew a Code of Bushido, which is great because what we're probably going to do here is actually drop the Tojo and then use the Code of Bushido on that, which gets a boost from the Gecko and takes out a whole bunch of their stuff. And then that's 7, and then we have 5 left over to play a Type 3. Yep, that's going to be our turn. So Code of Bushido on our Tojo. Sweep up 3 and do 3 damage to their HQ. Well, I think I just noticed that we can get them down to one on their HQ. I think we're gonna change tactics just a touch, and we're gonna play a Tora here and do 2 more damage to their HQ and get rid of that Panzer III. So we keep our Gecko out there, which it's naked right now, and that could be trouble, especially if they have another Blitz tank. But we did just sweep their board up. Alright, so they have another Blitz tank. That hurts. Hopefully they go after the HQ again. And instead they go after the Gecko. And they have another Panzer III. Wow, I don't see a lot of double Panzer III decks out there. Good for them. Okay, let's see. How are we going to do this? I think we got to do a Type 3 and a Type 3. They both have Guard and Ambush, so that's going to slow our opponent down a little bit here. And I think we're just going to pass the turn. We're going to save our Tor until we can find either another Gecko or the Charons, which, I mean, they got to be coming up. There's 4 of them left in our deck, so. Alright, a Panzer puts our Type 3 back in hand, but we have another one left. Alright, a fast Heinz, but that's okay. We still have ambush here, so we can at least take out one of the incoming Panzers. Well, I guess we can't take out the Type 3 if they attack with that. But they can only attack once. Okay, so that was... We got a little bit lucky there that they didn't attack with anything. So that was good. Let's do a Chinu. Okay. We're going to do Tora to injure everything out there. And we're also going to do an air superiority on the other Panzer, which the reason I do that is because now ambush is still live on all of our tanks. So, and we'll see what happens here. So we'll pass the turn. We're not seeing our planes out of our deck, and that really hurts us because our deck's really designed to have those on the battlefield. So the good thing about our Type 3s is they dodge a lot of removal orders. Now they can grind through what we have out here. We'll see if they're willing to do that. Waiting on our opponent. So very interesting game here. If we could find even a Sheridan does help. A Sheridan helps a lot. Whew, I don't really want to put it on the battlefield though, because it gives another target for our opponent. But I think we have to, because if we put it, okay, so we get our Sheridan out there now. Essentially, we win next turn if we can get there. It really depends on what our opponent's going to do here. If our Sheridan survives and we get to next turn, we can win. We'll see what our opponent's up to. I think they're a little befuddled by our type 3s. They don't really know what to do right now. So reinforcements really hurts us. That really, really hurts. So we still negate a couple of attacks here, but we will lose our Sheridan. That reinforcements might have beat us if our opponent plays it correctly. Okay, they didn't need the dive bombing there. And them using up their credits is actually great. So we'll see what happens here. Alright, and then... Okay, we kind of had our fingers crossed that they would attack our HQ with that Panzer, but no luck. And that reinforcements might have beat us, which is unfortunate. Yep, that's gonna do it, which is too bad. That's too bad. We were one turn away. The double Panzer IIIs hurt. Let's just play the rest of our orders, and we can't play the last one. So we'll go down to a defeat in the first one, but we're one turn away, one card away, really. The reinforcements did us in, so a little showing off here for the opponent, but that's okay. Alright, so we dropped the first one, but we were playing against a pretty good opponent there, made some good plays, played some cards in the correct order, attacked the correct things, so well done by our opponent. Alright, so next one up here, playing against Lord Vader. Great name. Okay, what do we have? We don't need a burst of fire to start. We don't need a gecko to start. We actually don't need a Tora or air superiority to start. So we'll throw those all back. And one thing that really hurt us when I noticed it about the first game we played there is we didn't really see a 33rd Recon Regiment, and so we didn't really draw a lot of cards last game. And Lord Vader starts off with a U-375 and takes our Bloody Sickle, which is kind of exactly what we wanted to keep, but we draw a 33rd, so let's get it out there. Hopefully we're not playing against a discard deck. Everybody knows my dislike of discard decks. So let's move up our 33rd. I wish we had our Bloody Sickle here because we would definitely draw 2. We're going to pass the turn instead. And hopefully we get at least 2 draws off of our 33rd Recon here. We'll see what happens. Alright, and another one of these Panzer IIIs. This is the third one we've seen of those. So, what are we going to do? Well, I think we're going to play our 33rd Recon, and we're going to play a naval operations here just to buy ourselves at least a turn not having to deal with that Panzer III. So they go after our HQ with their Yak Fighter, and reinforcements again. We're seeing reinforcements a lot today. Let's get in with, well, no. We're actually, how are we gonna do this? Okay, we're gonna move up our other 33rd Recon, and we're actually gonna draw 2 already. The thought behind, well, okay, we'll draw 2 of the same, but now we'll get to see multiple cards off of our 33rd Recons, and we have multiple cards for backup here, so we'll see what happens. So a Panzer, and man, we're just running into the buzzsaws today. Alright, well, let's play a naval operations to give us a little bit of space. Get in at the opposing HQ, and we're going to pass a turn. So another reinforcements. Almost the exact same deck we saw before. Alright, a Nebelwerfer hurts our Recon, but we get to draw 2 because they pass turn to us, which is great. So, okay, we're going to play another naval operations just to pin the opposing team again, and let's get an I-15 out there. And next turn we can go Gecko into Tora Tora Tora. And hopefully we get to draw again off our 33rd. Great, we'll take another draw. Okay, Air Superiority is a good one. And Reichsbank for our opponent. And another Reichsbank. So they could potentially have a really explosive turn next turn. Is there any way we can sweep up their entire board? So we have 6, 7, 8, 9. So no, we can't do that. Well, okay. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to attack the Nebelwerfer, get it off the table. Then we're going to drop a Type 3. And, we're going to ping the Panzer IV with an air superiority. So, depending, well, and actually we more than ping it. We, you know what? We should have taken out this Panzer IIIe. That was a mistake. So, my fault. A little bit of a punt there. Should have taken out that Panzer IIIe. I forgot we had a plane on the battlefield. But they have a whole bunch of credits to use here, and this Type 3 is going to earn his money right here if he can keep our HQ health up high. Because next turn we're looking pretty good. We can do multiple things next turn that we want to do. That's really going to rain on their parade. So let's see what happens. Still 6 credits for our opponent. Okay, we weathered a double Reichsbank storm, or double Reichsbank turn. So let's see. Let's see. So Bushido deals 2 damage to everything. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Gecko. Then we're going to go Kota Bushido on our on our I-15. Shoot everything on the opponent's team and get 3 of their units. Then we're going to Bloody Sickle the 2nd Motor Rifles. And now we're going to pass a turn. So that was a pretty devastating turn of events there for our opponent. And we have 6 power worth of fighters on the battlefield right now. Plus our HQ is protected. So we're feeling much better now. Much, much, much better. So let's get another Gecko out there. And then we're going to air superiority the Focke-Wulf 190. And then we are going to Tora 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 away the other 2 fighters and get 3 damage on the opposing HQ. So they're down to 2 cards in hand, so we're feeling pretty good right now. That feels much better. From the people for an opponent. They take out one of our geckos. That's okay, it did its job. Alright, great. So, and we get a thanks for the game from Lord Vader, which I don't think the real Lord Vader would say that, but you never know. Alright, so let's get in with our tank. Let's get some attack in with one of our I-16s, and we're actually going to drop another Type 3 down just in case they have something crazy going on their side. So they have a Bismarck, which goes right after our HQ, but it looks like that's all they have. So let's just end this one quick with our Type 3 and then a Gecko attack, and we're up to 1-1. Alright, good job. Saw the deck in action there. Saw that I-15 to the Kota Bushido and how devastating that can be when played, and you can pick up multiple things at once. So, on to the next one. Alright, our next opponent up here is Puppet Strings. Cool name. I like it. Oh, okay. We do have card draw order in hand. From against a German opponent. I like this from the people too, and the Chaika really keeps us in the game. It's kind of virtual card advantage, so let's try that. Let's throw naval operations back, and we get a Tora, which doesn't really help. We were kind of hoping either for a 33rd Recon there or the Sharan, but we'll see what our opponent's got going on. There you go first. So, Puppet Strings. What a cool name. What a good. I wonder how people think of their names for stuff. Like, do you use the same name for everything, or? Alright, so our opponent passes to us, which is interesting out of a German player. We're just going to pass it right back. We did draw a good one with the Type 96, so we'll see what our opponent's got going on. Alright, so they play the Panzer Grenadiers. Couple of options for us here. We could take it out, which I think that's going to be what we're going to do. Or we could play our Chaika, but let's take it out with a From the People, because those Panzer Grenadiers signal to me that we might be playing against a Blitzkrieg player, and those Panzer Grenadiers, if you let them stick around, they can cause a lot of problems very quickly. So, alright, the jig is up. We're playing against somebody who is Soviet and German. 42nd rifles in the front line can be an issue, but not one that we can't overcome. And actually, I think we're going to take out this 42nd rifles now before it does get out of hand. So an air superiority does 3, then a bloody sickle will take it out, and we get to draw off our bloody sickle. Because at 42nd rifles, those guys can get out of hand in a hurry. So Puppet Strings is up. And next turn we can play an Arctic. If our opponent doesn't play anything here, we go Arctic Convoy. If they play something like that, great. And we go back-to-back naval operations. So, next turn, what do we want to do? I think what we're going to do at this point actually is get our Type 96 out there. Since these are infantry and they're playing the Soviet Union, they can only move them one into the front line, and then we can just pin them with naval operations, and that'll be fine. And it'll actually destroy the 6th Naval Brigade, so all that is fine. The 980 Volks Grenadiers could be an issue in the long term, but for right now, and these are all things we definitely want to see our opponent doing. So multiple ground units that they have out there right now. We're going to pin everything with our naval operations. But let's just play out this turn here for a second. So naval operations can pin everything. Take out the 6th Naval. And I think we actually pound the Volksgrenadier. So let's do that. So naval operations, pin everything that our opponent's trying to do. And let's hit the Volksgrenadier because they could be long-term issues. So if we can get some free damage in on them. We have an Arctic Convoy in hand, so we're not falling behind on cards. Our opponent's down to 3 cards in hand, and we have another naval operations. And we just made them use From the People on our artillery. Great. So our opponent is empty-handed. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we're going to do another naval operations. Take out a couple of their units. Pin everything again. We're going to use our Chica to take out the German infantry. And we're going to get an I-16 out there. And we're going to pass the turn back. And we are exactly where we want to be right now. We have our opponent top decking. We have multiple sweepers in hand. We're just looking to grab one of our big planes off the top, and then we're good to go. So another From the People, probably take out our I-16. That's okay. No big hurt for us. Let's see, we have a Tojo in hand. Okay, so let's do Tora. And then we're going to upgrade our... No, we're not even going to do that. We're going to play our Tojo out, and then we're going to play an air superiority and keep our Toras. And Now we have 5 power of fighters on the battlefield. Puppet Strings has an Enigma. Good play there. Definitely a good choice by them. They get a Volks Grenadier out of it. Okay. We're going to play our Arctic Convoy at this point. We want to find geckos and sheared Shirans, so we find both, which is great. Let's get a Shiran out there, and we'll hit the Volks Grenadier for 2. And this is kind of where infantry is kind of hurt. It's a little bit cheaper and strong, but it's slow, just like in the war itself. So we have lots of goodies in our hand. We have lots of goodies on the battlefield. An Eagle's Claws hurts, but doesn't ruin our show. We lose our Tojo and our Chica, but that's okay. Let's get our Type 3 out there to guard everything. Let's bomb the 980. And we're going to strafe the enemy HQ. Then if they want to go after our I-16 with their 980, that's fine. We don't mind that. We have 2 geckos in hand, so we're just kind of waiting for our opponent to put more stuff onto the battlefield, because then we'll go gecko and a Tora next turn. So they're playing right into what we want them to do, and they scoop it up. So we get past the German-Soviet infantry, and we're up to 2-1. So we'll move on to the next one, and we'll see you there in just a second. So next one up here, and it's going to be a tough one. We're up against Cybernetic, who my last look was on top of the officer club rankings, and he's been on the podcast before. So he's a good player. He is a real good player. So we'll see what we do here. We have our Arctic Convoy, but we don't have much else. And Cyber is on a British deck, which we'll see. We'll see what he's up to. Draw naval operations, pass a turn back. This one could be over really quick, or it could take a while. So settle in. We'll see how we do here. Get a Type 3 and we'll pass a turn back. So it looks like he might be on control as well. Alright, well, let's get an I-15 out there, see what happens. Okay, nothing happens just yet, so see what Cyber's up to. Alright, he's got the Kitty Hawk. So, we don't really want to waste anything in our hand on a Kitty Hawk. A Kitty Hawk by itself isn't that scary. So we're gonna from the people the Kitty Hawk, and then we're also gonna attack it with our I-15 to get it off the battlefield. Keeps our I-15 in play, gets rid of an elite unit. So let's see what Cyber's got up next. He must be working on a control deck or something like that. I usually see Cyber playing more aggressive style decks, so it's interesting to see him playing control. Alright, he has the Mosquito to take out ours. Alright, so multiple options again for us. Let's see, let's do a Type 3 and see how he reacts to that. So let's see what we're up against here. Mosquito gets shot down by the Type 3, but he has a tactical strike. Ambush is still alive, though. Alright, and a Desert Rat. So it looks like he's playing German-British control. So let's get our Sheeran out there, and we'll take out his Mosquito. I don't think I've played against Cyber with this particular build of this deck. I don't think I've actually played against him at all with this deck, so we'll see what he does here. Alright, he's got a lightning to put back in our hand, and a sudden strikes our I-16. We draw an I-16 though. Okay, so we have 7 credits we can use. Let's get an I-16 out there. And let's actually draw 2 with our Arctic Convoy. Okay, good. Now let's drop a 33rd Recon out there and pass a turn. So even if our 33rd Recon gets buzzed right here, it still draws us a card. Alright, so he has the Comet, which is a really cool card, but not something that we can deal with easily. So we have to get the show on the road here a little bit. So let's put the Gecko out, and then let's air superiority the Lightning, take it out, and move our 33rd Recon up, and then we're actually going to ping our 33rd Recon and draw 2, because we might need those 2 cards. The Comet's going to come in again at the HQ, but we were hoping that we could draw something big, or we can drop a Type 3 down next turn, so that'll protect the HQ, at least for a little bit. Alright, so Comet coming in again. Then a naval power on our Gecko. So hopefully he doesn't have another naval power in hand. That would ruin our day. Let's get a Type 3 out there. Get a damage in so we don't get skunked. Let's get a strafing run in. And then let's draw 2 more. Now we go down to 3 here, but the difference between 3 and 5 isn't that much at this point. Because if he has some way to get rid of our Type 3 anyway, which he does, which really hurts, because now everything is gone in our hand and we don't have anything to stabilize with, so alright, let's get a Sheridan out there, take out the Leopold, but the Comet's gonna beat us, so playing the Leopold there, good play. We have a similar build of a different kind of the deck that is pretty good, is similar, but the Comet's going to come down here and take us out. So, good tempo deck there by Cyber. Cyber's a good player, made a good play, or made some good plays. We were really reliant on the Type 3 right there, so that drops us down to 2 and 2. A little disappointing that both of those got discarded there, but that's the way it goes. So our last one that we're going to try this week against EDK. We're going to throw all these back. They don't help us out very much. Alright, well, we have something to do on turn 2. We have something to do on turn 4, so we'll see what EDK's got cooking over there. We're going to pass the turn. Alright, well, let's get our I-16 out there. Even if that ran into a careless talk, we'd take it. That's okay. Not a big deal. Sudden strike, same thing, but we'll take it. Alright, so we're going to pass the turn back. Alright, so they have... Oh, that's in my way. Okay, the 8th Fallschirmjäger. So, let's ping those guys with a bloody sickle. Do we want to play a Tojo, or do we want to get rid of that? Let's get rid of the Fallschirmjäger, because the last thing we need is that thing to be in the front line and be giving us a hard time. So, alright, good. We want to see that. So let's get our Tojo out there, and let's get our Recon Regiment out there. So even if they move the 22 Infantry Regiment up to the front line, we can take it out. And they get one bonus card, but... Alright, so from the people, and a sudden strike, so trying to grind through that hand. Alright, we have 6. So let's do... We want to take out this 22. Okay, let's do an Arctic Convoy. Okay, we like that. We're going to pass a turn. So he's going to get... EDK is going to get one more bonus card off this 22nd. But we're kind of playing them into exactly where we want them to go. Because right now we're going to get a Sheridan out there, and then we're going to do a naval operations and take out 2 and pin the 3rd unit. So that was great. We're a little bit behind on cards. And that is, let's see, is that the ISU? ISU 152, which is difficult to deal with, to say the least. We're going to go Gecko. And then we're going to go Tora. And yep, the ISU survives, but we have geckos in hand to take the place of this Sheridan if it goes down. And hopefully they just go after our HQ. Because, yeah, we're down to 9, but next turn we can take out... Oh, wow. So now we can do the same thing we did before and go, let's see, can we do all of this in one turn? No, we would need 11 credits to do it. So we can go with the I-15, then we Coda Bushido our I-15, and this does a ton of damage, 4 to everything, takes everything out. We get a bonus plane, and we get 2 strafes at the base. So let's do that, and then drop a bomb on it as well. And we have them down to 9, and we have nearly lethal on board. So let's see. Air Blitz. That's disappointing. So we can at least drop a type. Well, let's see. Yep, we can drop a type 3 out here, but I think we're up against a burn player here, and they're going to burn us out. And we're going to come up 1 turn short again. So, burn player there, that's disappointing. And we fall down to 2 and 3 with this one. Yeah, we were really only 2 turns away from a really winning record this time. So, a little disappointing there, but we'll be back for the wrap up. So what can we say about Red Skies? Got a little bit unlucky this week with 2 games in particular that reinforcements in turn 1 really beat us, and then we played against a burn player who got us just inside of range the turn before we were going to win. So that's disappointing. So 2 and 3 overall for the week. I think this is a pretty good deck. I don't think it's like the very, very top most competitive of decks. I think it's probably the next tier down. But if you are having a lot of trouble and you didn't really see it in action against a reserves and a frontal assault tokens deck that we played last week, against those decks it really shines. It really chews through them and does a lot of good things. You know, Cybernetic had a good tempo deck that we were up against and kind of bounced us out of the game. So that was disappointing. And like I said, the other 2, we were really only 1 turn away from winning those games. So not the best record this week, but I think you saw the deck in action. I think you could see some really cool things with it. And that's Red Sky. So it does really well against tokens. It does struggle a little bit against burn. So, you know, you can't ask for a 5-0 every time. We got 2-3 this time, but you got to see the cool stuff doing what cool stuff does. So that's Red Skies, and we'll talk to you next week on another edition of What I'm Playing. Oh, one more thing before I go. Please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/cardspodcast, or listening to the podcast itself at cardspodcast.com. All right, take it easy. Talk to you next week.